Woo, yeah! All right, welcome everyone to Virtually Incorrect. I am your host, Gunter. Virtually Incorrect is a weekly panel discussion show about virtual reality in virtual reality. Topics interesting to the VR community will be semi-seriously discussed with each week's guests with nothing off limits. This week's guests, I have a great panel of cyberpunks and virtual personalities. First, we have Anticleric, the developer of Technolust, true cyberpunk. Just go back to Kickstarter now. There ain't much else to say. Welcome.
Thank you.
And next to him, we have from Tralee, Ireland, Apieceoffruit. He's a virtual VR enthusiast, currently experimenting with Unreal Engine 4. How's it going?
Hey, Gunter, good to be here.
All right. And across the table, we have Mitch, co-founder of Team Metatron and developer of VR Chess. Welcome, Mitch.
Howdy, everyone.
And finally, my last guest is the one and only Reverend Kyle, podcaster, evangelist, and part of the Road to VR team. Thanks for coming, Kyle.
Thank you for having me.
All right, if everybody's ready, then let's discuss some VR. And our first story is actually about Technolust. Imagine that. So, of course, we all know Technolust is on Kickstarter. I'm actually just going to let Anticleric talk about it a little bit. I mean, a lot of us already know, but hey, tell us a little bit about it in case some people are new to it, and give us your pitch.
Whew, pitch. All right. Yeah, Technolust is no pressure. Virtual reality cyberpunk adventure game. Kind of set in a near future. If you have a Rift, which I assume you do if you're watching this, go try it and back it.
Yeah, it's freaking awesome. It's set in, just an awesome cyberpunk world that, I think makes so much sense with virtual reality. I want to see more titles like this. I think it obviously goes hand in hand. I don't really want Dungeons and Dragons as much as I want, Shadowrun or Cyberpunk in my virtual reality. So, hey, Apieceoffruit, what do you think about Technolust? Have you tried the demo? What do you think?
Oh man, this game is a piece of VR history in the making. I mean, it's the same style that we all love the most, our childhood VR. And one of the tiers is, a couple of the tiers is to get your face in the game, and I just couldn't resist, I want to have my face in there forever, so I can look back at it and, that's me, everybody. I saw this coming. Amazing. I was with a group of people who knew it,
And to have that opportunity, because it's a Kickstarter and whatnot, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Mitch, what do you think?
I really love it. I mean, I played it when the first demo came out, and I think I may have broken it a little bit. I got to the point where, you're in the apartment or whatever, but then from the very first demo, I actually got outside somehow. I don't know if you were supposed to be able to, but I did. And then that's the point when I realized, that this game was kind of something special, because you get outside and you kind of, it's like this cyberpunk sort of street, and you just walk there, and it's you get it with a couple of other games, I think Titans of Space has as well, which is that sense of scale where you look up at the buildings and you kind of see it towering over the top of you. It's just really cool.
Yes. Just huge buildings, huge skyscrapers with the the billboards, the neon lights just flashing everywhere, and stuff from Blade Runner, or it's little Chiba, and it's freaking really cool. So it's a dream for anybody that's into VR. And Reverend Kyle, now I know that Anticleric was just on your podcast. I got to listen to that, and I know you're a big fan. We're the same age and whatnot, so much of what you guys were saying was just resonating with me. But let's hear your thoughts.
Honestly, I gotta say, and especially with having Blair here, I've got a major problem with the game. And I need to share this with all of you because it's really important. This game is too good. Okay, you're setting the bar is way up here now. You're messing it up for all other developers, because how are they going to top your game? That's a big problem that I have. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong.
I don't know, man. Teddy bears versus land sharks is a pretty high bar.
Well, and I don't expect everybody to be of that quality. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, feel free to try, but teddy
You're
bears
humble.
versus land sharks. Yeah, that's the big problem that I have is how humble I am. It just. But no, seriously, in all reality, though, I mean, Technolust is a dream come true for most of us, and I've been pushing it hard. A lot of bloggers and podcasters out there are really jumping on this game, and I mean, I'm just at this point now that it's going to be funded, I want to see where we're going to go from there. Which stretch goal are we going to hit? That 300K, is that possible?
Again, no pressure, right?
Right, no pressure.
So I'm gonna make a few more comments, and then I actually have a few, more interesting questions. But like, the music's freaking awesome. I love that. So I wanted to say props to the music and the soundtrack. And there was a moment in there, it kind of reminded me of Neverending Story, but I don't know. I could just be hearing that. Is that true?
Never-ending story. I don't know.
Just
I'm
a small
big
part
fan,
where it gets. Okay, I just wanted to ask. So no, and I'll keep going. But how about the Max Headroom in the beginning? That footage is from like that pirate hijack incident that was in like Chicago of '87, though, right?
Yes, yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah, so
what
that's
that
not
is.
actually the show, but that incident, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to use Max Headroom, but I was worried about copyright. So
Smart.
I remembered that, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's a perfect thing to use because it's a pirate signal. It was illegal to begin with, so I imagine it's free to use.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I don't
really,
think anybody's going to come after you for that. If they did, they'd be outing themselves.
And if anyone hasn't seen it, I would look it up on the internet. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a PBS signal intrusion with Max Headroom, and it's very creepy to watch, actually.
Yeah, it's just a very cryptic message. It sounds like somebody insane, and they hijacked the studio in Chicago, and they're just ranting, and it's everything that I wanted to do because I'm completely insane as well. So it's freaking awesome. But I also want to say, I'm a big, Shadowrun fan. So this is part of that same, universe of cyberpunk, and that's a really, in-depth universe. And maybe you could incorporate something of that, maybe, or it's so similar that I guess it's kind of just in there. But have you heard of Shadowrun? Played that?
Oh yeah. That's actually one of the only games I bought on Steam was the new Shadowrun. But
Sure.
there will not be any orcs or magic in Technolust.
Right. That makes sense. I do love that part too. It gives me the Dungeons and Dragons in the future.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Rev?
Yeah, I don't want to see any orcs or demons. I want it to be realistic, with dystopian robots and cameras watching me everywhere and Jolt Cola everywhere.
Any
That's
Arthur
covered,
C.
yeah.
Clarke fans here? I'd love to see some electric animals in there as well.
Oh, no pressure,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Now I have to model electric animals. Oh, I'll see what I
Yeah,
can do.
mandatory.
I wanted to comment on, has anybody played Burn Cycle on the CDI back in the late 90s or heard of that?
Ain't nobody played the CDI.
Ain't nobody. Just me.
Yep.
Well, it was awesome. You should look it up on YouTube because it's same style, and it's a live motion it just adventure. So it's actually kind of similar in some of that vein. But yeah, it was a CDI and it was a mistake. But Burn Cycle was amazing.
I'll check it out for sure.
Another thing, I was just watching Hackers today, and I happened to come across it said "Trust your Technolust" in there, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that. So I'm sure that you're aware of that.
That's exactly where the title of the game came from, actually.
Very interesting, yeah, because I can't even believe I caught it. I was kind of just working and watching it. I didn't put it on, and because you were on the show tonight or anything, I actually put that on here and there just in the background, and I was like, hey, look at that. So cool timing. And when I was listening to Rev's podcast today, you guys were already talking about the Hackers there. So go listen to that show. It was really great. So if you're real interested in this game, so how about what are the challenges of kickstarting an indie game like this?
I really don't know. This is my first Kickstarter, and I think like the community has been what's carried it by far. Like probably 50%. Well, no, it's not. It's not that high. It's like 25% of the backers came from Reddit, and the other 25 came from the Oculus forums, and it's pretty much spread from there. So I have to say thank you to everybody that's in here, basically.
What's the panel think? Mitch, what do you think about, Kickstarters, and have you thought about if you were going to bring a product there, have you thought about the challenges, or do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start, to be honest. Like, how do you price a game and say, like, this is how much I will need? Like, the budgeting is kind of all foreign to me, so I don't think anything like that I would be able to do alone, really. I don't know. Like, interesting to know how you figured out, like, a budget, how, like, this is the price that I will need.
That is an issue, because 30,000 definitely is not enough, but it's a level that I figured is attainable, at least. So, we just kind of set the bar as high as we thought it would ever get. And then, starve for a while and hope that it does well when it actually sells.
Well, and that was something you and I had talked about on the podcast is, do you set the bar here and expect people to pay you what you need, or do you set it way up here because this is what you ultimately really like to have? You don't want to overwhelm them, because then they're not going to back you because it's too high. But if you set it at a reasonable level, then people will be more willing to back you, and obviously, it's worked for you.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the danger of overfunding. It's like the Double Fine game. There's a lot of talk that because they got so much more than they were expecting, it sort of spiraled the project, because everyone tried to quickly, rewrite their plans and change things to incorporate all the new features and all the new things they wanted to do, and it sort of, damaged the project in the long run.
Well, that's called scope creep. That's what I was going to say. You see projects get muddled up really quickly because, they've got a couple $1 million, now they should add, all sorts of crazy stuff like, I don't know, positional tracking.
Positional tracking is going in regardless, as soon as I get my DK2 anyway. But I could only dream to have that problem. I get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars more than I need, and the scope gets out of range. I think I can handle that kind of problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And
all right,
you've a lot of friends here would help you out,
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to hire the Riftmax guys to, we'd put the Riftmax theater into the game.
Yeah, so you'll get by with a little bit of VR friends here. So I see it happening. It's a great Kickstarter. It's one of the best. And do you the rest of the guests here have any other questions for Anticleric before we move on to the next story?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of my favorite parts of the entire experience, it's like 5 seconds. The kind of the boot up sequence, the intro, the outro, that kind of head-mounted display UI, kind of concave screen that comes around your face. Will we be seeing more of that in the game?
Oh yeah, definitely. That was actually like the first thing I did, because I know I've said this already, but it was originally just going to be sitting at that desk and doing kind of like a papers please type of thing, and the heads up display was going to be a big part of it. Like, you'd have to jump in and out of programs basically. So yeah, it'll definitely make a comeback.
Awesome, that's super well
done. By the way,
done.
that comment. That comment comes from Jonas. Say it ain't Jonas. And thank you for that, or that question. Sorry. You're in the audience, but I actually don't know where. I can't see well enough, but that's all right.
He's behind me.
I'm the lady.
You are.
Yes, you are.
I'm Dr. Girlfriend.
You don't have the
Anticleric, I remember hearing on Rev's show about you were reading the best practice guide actually from Oculus, and that you decided to make it a seated experience, but that you were just compelled that you wanted to stand up and basically walk and go outside and all that, right?
Yeah, it got away from me. I still think that maybe doing kind of like a cyberpunk themed thing that's just a strictly seated experience might happen. down the road a little bit. But for Technolust, yeah, I had to get out there and run around.
Cool. All right, so that was a great story. We're going to move on to the second story, and this is investors throw $3 million at the Virtuix Omni treadmill, posted by iTalk Games, and the story's from Gamasutra. And it says the Virtuix Omni treadmill went up for pre-order recently due to the release later this year. Today, the company announced that it is receiving $3 million in a round of investment. They now have a round of half a dozen investment firms involved, and the company says that the round of investment will allow it to expand its staff count and improve the mass production and distribution of the hardware. And there's a couple comments I want to read from this posted story. Comment by Luke Demand 111. That's kind of unexpected. I was expecting this product to slowly disappear into the background after the overwhelmingly negative impressions in the last few months. There's another comment by Singularity 87. Developers are going to need to justify the cost of integrating Omni support, and if there are very few people with them, they simply won't. This is also a self-reinforcing cycle. All right, so that's the topic. I want to turn it over to Apieceoffruit. What do you think about that?
Well, I've got a particular opinion on this because I'm a backer, and I'm still sort of kind of in their corner, which seems to be a rare position these days.
Yeah, a niche.
But
yeah, I'm a backer as well, actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm kind of a fan of the idea that I think people are over-expecting from it. I think that, developers probably won't integrate it, but quite frankly, it's not overly needed. I mean, you don't need such high-fidelity tracking like you do with your hands. I mean, I'm a lumbering idiot when I walk anyway. I don't need, I don't need my toes moving, and I don't need, correct steps. I just need to know that when I shuffle in a vague direction that my character will move with me. And the level of immersion you'll get from that. Yeah, bingo. And I mean, people are saying already that the small details, like the fact of just having hand and head tracking, it's stuff that people who didn't know about VR would think would be important, but yet it is. And I think that the idea of something which seems as ludicrous as just a couple of steps that map to the WASD will probably build a lot and then be a lot more important than, the naysayers who haven't actually tried it would give credit for. But then again, I respect their point too. It's not as as great as we need it to be. It is a stopgap.
Well, speaking of naysayers, I believe, Rev Kyle, you're a naysayer, right?
Let me define it here for you. I'm not a naysayer. I just don't want one. So
yeah,
I understand. Right. I understand why everybody wants it. And actually, my new plan is to just go buy one of these old, broken down fitness centers that are closed down in my neighborhood and just fill it with Omnis and Rifts and just charge people $5 an hour to come and use it. That's where it belongs, in the out-of-home entertainment area. I don't want one in my house. If Apieceoffruit wants to have one, I think it should be available for him, but I don't have room, nor do I have a desire to play my games in sweat at the same time. Even though I probably should. I should be doing that.
But you have to pay for it, so, do you want to pay for that pain and sweat?
No.
Mitch, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. I think these kind of indie hardware startups are they have their work cut out for them, really. I remember watching this interview with Tony Fadell, who's one of the lead creators of the first iPod, actually. And he was saying that people generally struggle with hardware startups because you generally don't see a return on your investments until the third revision of a product. So these indie companies seem to always just put out one product and then generally, I mean this is generals, but they seem to just fizzle away and don't have enough investment to make the second product or third product. So right. I think
in the iteration.
I think now that they have that 3 million, was it? I think that's a step forwards, but I'm just not sure how much they would need. And I guess they're not developing the iPod, it's not that consumer focused, so they probably don't need a lot.
Right, it's a more niche, but still hardware's expensive and hardware's hard, I would imagine. So Anticleric, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, this has been coming up a lot with me lately, during the Kickstarter. everyone is, well, not everyone, but I'm getting tons of messages every day. Are you going to support the Omni? Are you going to support the STEM? Are you going to support Prior VR? Blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
I have that question now too.
Yeah, so like you said, it's an issue for developers because, you know, as is,
more work.
My funding level is very low. I don't have development kits for any of these things. I'm not sure how the Omni works. If it really does just map to WASD, then I shouldn't need to do anything, right? It should just work on its own.
Right.
But, yeah, it's an issue trying to.
But maybe there's
trying to support
more
all of
to
these.
it that can be, fine-tuned, I guess, to get a better experience out of it. But I really don't know. I haven't tried it. I guess, yeah, the I don't know, what's their demo called? Apieceoffruit Traver VR?
Yeah, Traver.
For their game, actually.
Yeah, the basic. Yeah, it's supposed to be a full game. It's kind of your kind of standard sort of zombie, sort of stealth shooter type thing. The way I understand the way it works is it's got the capacitive touch screens, or touch surface rather, for your feet. So you can potentially, as a developer, put a lot more fidelity into how much tracking you do if you incorporate the API. But as Anticleric said there, I don't think that's necessary. I think, for the most part, most games, just by the sheer nature of having a WASD walk, I'm more than happy to have that mapped, and that's why I think it'll be okay. Same with stomps. You don't need to integrate those per se. You just need to basically keep a standard control input. That's why I think it's probably a better approach than people think.
And the other issue is, like you said, we don't know, because none of this hardware exists yet, we don't know which ones are going to stick around, which ones are going to fizzle out. So, I don't want to support something that only 10 people are going to use in the end.
Well, isn't that always the problem, though, when you're a software developer and you've got people putting out all this hardware? It's a double-edged sword. It's a catch-22. It's circular logic. Are you going to support the hardware, or is the software not going to be there, so the hardware dies, or the hardware doesn't get developed even though we want it because the software won't support it? It's a mess. I mean, I think developers need to either decide, okay, we're going to support everything, or we're going to support nothing.
Right.
I mean, you're a developer. What do you think?
If Omni or STEM or something wants to send me their product and I can decide whether I like it or not, then fine. But like I said, I don't have the hardware. I don't know if it's any good. I don't know if anyone's going to buy it. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I guess when we get STEM, when we get Omni, then we can, make that determine or ask that hard question, all or nothing, because all these are good or something like that. But maybe, again, maybe one isn't so good. We really haven't tried it, but I guess, we do see the reactions of the videos, and there's some pretty good, positive feedback from all that, and I'm pretty excited.
And I think if I was going to support the Omni specifically, I would do something more geared towards it, right? Just like I made Technoless strictly VR because it's for the Rift. If I was doing something with the Omni and the Rift, it would be, take your grandmother for a walk or something, like something that involves using the Omni.
Geared towards that, yeah.
Does my grandma have to wear a leash then?
It's got a leash. Doesn't it have a built-in?
I think so.
All right, so there's a couple more comments I want to read. So we have a comment from B. Trixie. From the other side, looking at sim racing, you have many people who have a setup, and a lot of them have a steering wheel and the props combined that cost over $1,000. And also another comment by Atomic or ATMIC. It's odd to see the hugely negative reaction on the subreddit. One from people that haven't tried it and are only basing their reactions off conventional demos. So basically that's a couple extra comments there. I do think the one about the sim racing definitely it's pretty interesting, right? People do like niche stuff and will buy it, and I guess it's how you run your company. Can you cater to that and be successful? Any thoughts, Apieceoffruit?
Well, yeah, to play devil's advocate from my own point is, while I do want developers to support as much stuff as possible, as Anticleric said there, the last thing you want is developers to try to shoehorn in these devices into their game where it doesn't fit just for the sake of it, or rather to kind of spread themselves too thin just to make every single device work. I mean, I prefer tailored experiences. I would sooner have a developer leave out the Omni if they think it would hinder the game, and then basically make a better seated experience, rather than add it just for the sake of it and basically make it worse.
Yeah. All very good points. Anybody else have anything to say about the Omni?
Yeah, I think that they should just send Blair one and send me one. Gunter, I think, just send a couple of them out to us so that way we can be advocates. If that's what they want, then that's what they need to do. I mean, I get demos, exclusive alphas from people all the time. Let's start sending some hardware out too. So if you're listening, wherever you are, yeah, send us some stuff.
I don't know, wouldn't ask them to ship to Australia, it'd be a couple $100 probably.
Well, I'll take yours then. I'll just have two then. Okay.
He'll deliver it when he visits.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the Omni, folks? We seem to have the money to buy the hardware. Maybe we can back the games too. I don't know. Is there enough of us for that? But anyways, moving on. The next story posted by Askull100. Askull100. How can I get into developing for the Rift? And he or she says, I'm currently finishing my first year in game development college program, and I want to try developing for the Rift. I'm not out to make a full game, yet I just want to know how I could get started. What is it like to develop for virtual reality? A couple comments, one from Bullock House, get Unity Pro and the latest Oculus SDK, import one into the other, and you pretty much just drop the camera in and start making a game. And Knobbly Spoon, as someone who just got started for developing VR content, I highly recommend UE4. The tutorials have been fantastic, and the visual programming blueprints is a great alternative to coding, since it's been a few years since I last did anything in C++. So, how do we get started in making a game here? Technoless, in a virtual reality game. I want to hand it over to you, since you're the most experienced here. What advice would you have for this person and for all of us who are interested in learning more about developing?
Well, I'm old school. I've been doing game development for almost 20 years now. So
first thing, get a time machine. Okay.
Yeah, get a time machine. Get hired by Rockstar. No, I think what the first guy said is right. You just get the dev kit, get a trial of Unity, and go. What was that thing we came up with? The trial? Just put it on.
Oh yeah, right. Just put it on. Yeah,
Just
you gotta
put it on.
just do it. Yeah, just put it on.
Just get in.
Yep. That's literally what I did.
Yeah. No, I mean, would you recommend? Yeah, would you recommend going to college and going that route, or would you recommend just learning on your own? And I guess it depends on the person, of course, but just some thoughts on that.
It depends what you're doing. I think a lot of I don't know what it's like now, but I know years back these game development specific colleges, like for-profit colleges, weren't all they were cut out to be. But I'm sure now that they're teaching everybody Unity or UDK or something, it's probably a good start anyway. Yeah, but it depends what you're doing, because people tend to specialize in different things, right? Like there's a lot of need out there for animators and riggers and character modelers, and if you want to specialize in something like that, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, definitely. Mitch, I wanted to toss it over to you next. Mitch and I both are members of Team Metatron, and Mitch has been developing VR Chest with a few other teammates. I'm not a game developer. I'm a web developer by trade, and I did the website, and I've been helping put this team together and whatnot. But Mitch has been doing this awesome work, and if you go to vrchest.net, not .com, then you'll see a video of our chess demo here that Mitch and Shaka on the team did a lot of the work, as well as Nate 8 doing a lot of the glue coding, and just, he's also a developer on that project as well. So Mitch, anyways, long story short, you're a younger developer just starting out. You're still in school. What are your thoughts on how did you get to where you're at, and do you have questions on how to take this further? And we have Anticleric here. We could ask him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, about developing, you could just get started. Like, it's not, with Unity and now Unreal, it's not hard. Like, it's not hard to get things working in the Rift. If you have a dev kit, you would have got a Unity Pro license. I mean, I'm not sure if they're doing that anymore. But still, Unreal, like UE4, $20, or you can just pay it once and just get, and you don't really, with UE4, you don't have to do any really tweaking. Like, it's just, if your Rift plugs in, then your game is Rift enabled, basically. With Unity, it's a little more just drop the prefab in and go. Like, it's not hard to get a basic level. And by this comment or post, I'm not sure what it was, but they don't want to make a Techno Lost or something. They just want to make something simple for an Oculus. Mm-hmm. And that
prototype,
is
a demo,
incredibly easy with Unity. And yeah, exactly. Like Unreal Engine 4 and Unity. Yeah, I don't know.
So you just need some creativity and know how to read a little bit and have the interest, it sounds like. Sorry,
yeah,
I mean, talked over you.
I mean, modeling is probably, like, there's a lot of facets to game development. So, like, it's easy to get started and do something simple. It starts getting more complicated once you start wanting to add more things, like everything, I guess. But yeah. I think what they want to do, just grab Unity. If you have the Unity Pro trial, use that. If you don't have the Unity Pro trial, get Unreal, because it'll be cheaper and it's just as easy to work with.
Good advice. Thanks. Apieceoffruit, you are learning UE4 right now. Any thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, definitely. I'll just pretty much echo what was just said. There's a lot in it, but realistically, you don't have to do it all as well. I mean, we live in a community-friendly world here. I mean, it's insane the level of stuff you can find out there. Google and YouTube are your friends. I did a 4-year games development course. Got my degree in it, but I didn't feel I got a lot out of it compared to me spending a couple of long evenings and nights just YouTubing it and sort of going, how do I do such and such? I mean, there's so much content, so many free models, so many snippets of code. You don't need to fully understand what you're doing. You just need to kind of be a decent reader and, sellotape the things together and Frankenstein yourself a fun little project and then learn what interests you more.
You guys are definitely on it, because I'm not a developer at all. I mean, my coding skills are like down here, and compared to my pals here. But I've been playing around with UE4 for about a week now, and I've already got, in terms of level design, I've already got a full level set up, and I've got first person scenario, Rift compatibility. It's so easy. I mean, even for somebody like me who's not even, there's novice, and then there's like kindergarten, and then there's like me down here underneath my toaster oven in terms of skill level. So if I can do it, then yeah, and $20 a month is nothing. And if you just do the first month and then cancel, that's up to you if you want to do that. But yeah, if you're out there and you want to start developing, do it. Do it. Just do it. No, wait. No. Just put it on. Just put it on.
Yeah,
excellent.
And one last thing on that.
Sure.
The main thing that people seem to think is that you need to be a coder. Now I am, and I use that way from time to time, but what people don't realize is we live in a world now where you can literally develop a full game with complex logic without touching a single line of code. There's actually examples of full commercial games you would have bought that if you Google it, that literally used the Unreal Kismet system, and now with UE4 that's become even simpler. You don't have to be a developer, you don't have to know code, and a lot of people seem to get scared of that concept and think they can't even jump into it, but it's just worth noting you don't have to do any lines of code if that's not your thing.
I kind of feel like I'm in the future.
playmaker for Unity. Basically, the same thing as Kismet. It's like what do they call it? A functional state machine, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Apieceoffruit, you're dead on. If I end up releasing this game I'm working on, I guarantee you I will have done zero coding at all. It will all be done with blueprints. I mean, I won't touch a line of code because I don't know what I'm doing there.
It's pretty amazing. That's those are tools that are just going to enable so many people to do things, and that's what's amazing. Roger S, who provided the art behind, he has a couple demos. One's this DMT experience, he was able to put together, and I'm not sure how much of a developer his background goes, but I know that he's creating some great artwork in there and expressing himself, and it's just great to see all these different demos from all kinds of different people and different levels of experience. So I'm having a blast with it all. There was one more comment by Universal Chairs that said, please, for the love of God, read the best practices guide that's supplied by the Oculus VR. So I just, I'm a big fan of that, of seated experiences. I think all that works really well, and all that stuff that's in that guide. And so just, pimping that a little bit.
Word.
Yep. All right. I think it's one more story here, and it's about Second Life and the whole new thing with high fidelity. So, posted by Baby Wolverine, titled Philip Rosendale, the creator of Second Life, on how he is building a whole new metaverse. And this was actually a podcast by Enter VR. I didn't get to listen to it, but I'm aware of this topic and wanted to bring it up. Here's a couple comments real quick. The Slow Wonder says, I'm glad he's starting new. Second Life has been challenging to update with more accessible tools. It will be really interesting to see what they can do with an opportunity to design it from ground up. And Kitchen Dawn says, I've been watching the progress of high fidelity, and I'm very excited about the possibilities. Second Life is an amazing experiment, but it's always been a little wonky. Something similar, but most immersive and well constructed, could really be fantastic. So I'm curious what you guys think about Second Life. I know what some of you guys think, and I'm going to give it to Apieceoffruit start.
Well, I've not really done the Second Life thing. I gave it a go once after seeing an interesting YouTube video, but I can't give a fair response on that because I've not really played it. But the metaverse is a universal topic. It's a universal concept. We've all got our images. We've all either seen something, either Ready Player One or Snow Crash, or even just watched some of the old movies. I mean, everyone has an image of what the metaverse is. We know the kind of the concept. And yeah, bring it on. I mean, I don't care who makes it. I don't get the dislike for Second Life as a concept, because at the end of the day, if they know what they're doing, they've built up a fan base, they have the resources. They're not building Second Life 2, they're not adding Oculus support to Second Life, they're basically using the experience they've built up to build a VR world for us, and I'm all for it. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. So they're talking about building a new thing, and I think that was always some of the criticism was, are they going to try to shoehorn Second Life? Rev, I know you have some comments where we've talked about, Second Life in the past. I don't know if you're got your hand in your face there, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's
high fidelity. What do you think about high fidelity? Is really, I do want to get into that.
Right. I have watched Philip Rosedale do his speech at VR meetups, the Silicon Valley VR meetup. I've watched the streams, and I'll tell you what, the technology looks amazing. And I have heard him talk, and I have seen him do things, but here's the problem. I have yet to see him wearing a Rift during any of these things. Why is this being touted as VR stuff when he's not using any VR equipment in it? I mean, how do you say that this is going to be the metaverse when all it is Second Life with new input?
Well, maybe he's also not sure on the headset yet, so it's like, I can't do that yet. Maybe that's what comes to mind.
But I mean, okay, even Blair, all right, when you're developing for the Rift, you put the Rift on and you look and see what your game looks like, right?
Yeah, well, yes.
Right.
Sometimes.
Okay, right, but I mean, you're at least getting a good idea. How are they?
Test it with the Rift on, definitely, yeah.
Right. So if I'm Philip Rosedale and I'm going to these VR meetups and I'm not using VR equipment and I'm showing technology that, quite frankly, isn't going to work with the VR equipment that we're used to seeing, okay? I mean, it's tracking eye movement.
Right, because it can't. Yeah,
Right.
exactly, because we have headsets on, right?
All of the fun toys, all of the things that everybody's oohing and eyeing over can't work with the Rift on. So I'm being objectively skeptical. Okay, so I want to see it be something cool. It's definitely a major advance forward from what we're used to seeing in Second Life, but you're going to have to convince me. I'm not exactly 100% on board yet.
That's a good point. Mitch, you have any thoughts on this? I think me, you, Nate, we've talked about this. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've seen the talks and things, but I personally have never played Second Life. It just never interests me. But the concept, though, of like the metaverse, I guess, or like a virtual reality hangout, I guess, is really promising. I don't think many people have got it perfect yet. Like, whenever I try one of these apps or these experiences where it's like a online virtual hangout with friends, it seems to be a little bit clunky, and I'm not sure if Second Life is like that, but High Fidelity seems, when the demos, I mean, it's early, so you can't really comment, but it seems to be still have that sort of jank. That, I don't know, it's this software jank that I see being like a massive hurdle for a lot of these products.
And I guess there's people out there that think that brings down VR overall when there's these, failures and whatnot. I'm more of an optimist and just like seeing it all happen, because being a naysayer is just so easy to do. And I just, I want to see everything happen. I loved what I saw with High Fidelity, and I love that they're trying to do this. But, I mean, you're right, that there's no actual Rift involved. How are they going to, read your face with the Rift on? And they're gonna get a camera in there, and that's gonna be that's a lot of work. So I can't see that happening. How are they gonna solve it then? But I can't wait till we have that kind of thing. I can't wait till we can all see each other in more high fidelity. Basically, it's a good word, as we grow up in these VR spaces, and the community grows, and so does the way that we can interact with each other. So that makes me think of, okay, we have a metaverse there. We've got things going on here in Riftmax where we're doing VR social, and over there in VR chat, which there are meetups going on there. And we also have like Carmack and Abrash. They're trying to build cyberspace over there with Oculus and, with Facebook money. Just wanted to kind of dive in what you guys think about all of that, the social places, the actual cyberspace. Are you excited about this is coming? Do you even see this being a possibility? Let's pass it on to Anticleric, which I think I might have skipped you last round, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say something about Second Life. I have a love-hate relationship with Second Life. I don't like the game, but I actually made the money to buy my Rift development kit with a shop in Second Life, so I'm kind of excited
That's
to
pretty
see.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to make money in Second Life. Nobody would turn that down, right? That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's easy if you can model and texture. That's basically all you need to do in Second Life to make money.
All right, folks. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, it took a long time. And, I make like $1 or $2 a day, maybe in Second Life. But I'm interested to see more what people like Facebook do with the metaverse concept, because the big problem I have with Second Life is it's completely open to everybody to create whatever they want, and I don't like most people. So you get a lot of weird sexual things. It's not a comfortable place for a normal person to be.
It's like a GeoCities or an Angel Fire of the web. We don't really want that. We want something a little more curated.
Yeah, like if I could limit it to my circles of friends and the kinds of experiences I'm down with, that's much cooler than just a complete free-for-all of internet madness.
And see, I love all the sex stuff, so I guess I should probably go there as well.
You're into furries.
See you later, guys.
That's your business. That's cool.
No, I actually did play it a little bit, and one of my friends, he was trying to make some money, and then he brings me into some, sex place or whatever. I don't even know how to describe these things, because it's like people are having fun here, and I guess getting off there. I can't even form that model in my head, really, because of their avatars. I'm not attracted to avatars, but it's anyway. Second Life's a beast. It's much more than just that. I think that's what people end up labeling it, is the risque parts of it, which I'm sure aren't even that risque, to be honest. But
yeah,
cool.
but isn't VR going to cause that? We're at the stage now.
I hope so.
We're technically at the birth of fetishes. We're at the stage where we don't know what fetishes will happen as a result of VR.
Well,
someone can turn
I can
themselves
think
into
of
a
some.
dolphin, someone else could be an eagle, and away they go. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and when you can experience through somebody's eyes, like Strange Days, the movie, when you can actually get a camera on this thing and record it and relive, my own memories is something that I really want to do. But all like that kind of stuff, I can be a girl, I can be a whatever. I mean, really, you could, for guys that aren't homosexual, could be in that role and try it on, and imagine that kind of experience for the world. No comment.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. My mind goes all kinds of places with this stuff, but that's even if we talk about torture and stuff that can be done with the Rift. I mean, the VR is going to provide fetishes. It's a new medium is really what's going on here. It's not just a game or place for games. It's a new medium of communication, which we're building. Just like we're building the fetishes, we've got to build how we're going to do our talk shows, or how we're going to do our all kinds of things in virtual reality. So what else about cyberspace?
It's kind of said that the idea of what's Facebook going to do with it. I mean, I've had a few chats with people about this, and now Nate's not an optimist on this, but I make him look like an optimist because I'm very dystopian on this topic. I don't have a lot of faith in them. I don't have a problem with Facebook as a company. I just don't like the mindset that the whole monetizing system may go. I'm not expecting Facebook ad pop-ups. I'm not one of these kind of people, but I'm afraid that it's going to become a mindset where we're going to get like we're used to pop-up ads now, and we just accept it and we just sort of close them and move on. I'm afraid that kind of stuff will happen. So yeah, I'm a bit of a naysayer and doomsayer on this one.
I have to mention something. The first thing that came to mind when people started talking about the Facebook VR app was because of their targeted advertisement things. Think about things like they can now track what exactly you're looking at. So if your eyes track too long on the bulge of somebody's pants in their Facebook picture, you're going to start getting ads targeted towards maybe this guy likes that. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
You get to learn a lot about yourself that way.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me, though. I like if it's going to be ad supported, I would rather have an ad that I'm interested in than just something random, right?
Right, but I do understand what Apieceoffruit's saying. We don't want more jank in our virtual reality. We want to keep it jank free, but ads, everybody's going to want it for free too. So, Rev, you got any thoughts on this?
Well, I've seen the kind of technology that can track your eyes, and they've got it where you're looking over here, then you're looking over here, then you're looking over here, and next thing you know, you got ads for banana hammocks because you've been staring at people's bulges too long. I don't necessarily want to see that, but targeted advertising has been going along for quite a while. I mean, that's nothing new. They're just taking it to another level with having Facebook integration, whatever. I don't really care. I mean, I already whore myself out to Facebook and click on ads all the time, and I probably shouldn't click on. I don't really care. I know a lot of people get really frustrated and they're, it's privacy and all that stuff. I'm one of the kind of people that understand that ads pay for stuff. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel. I don't make any money on my podcast. You're not going to make any money on this show, Gunter. So hopefully they told you that. You're not going to make money on this kind of stuff.
Second Life for that.
Yeah, right, yeah. But you're not going to make money, so ads help keep the internet free. And people don't want to do that, but ads help keep the internet free. Support it. Watch those ads.
We're all smart. If the ads bother you too much, just put an ad blocker on. You'll be fine.
I mean, there's a bigger discussion, though, of like, we turn out to be more of consumers than we are like citizens, and it wouldn't be nice to be more citizens of the virtual reality cyberspace than this consumer of another product.
But you're going to be a consumer if you're in VR, because you've had to buy $1,500 worth of hardware to be able to do it correctly. So you're already a
Got
consumer.
me there. Doesn't mean I have to keep being one and have it all. You know, I don't know. I get, you know, I need to buy food and all that. You could keep taking that, you know, further and further. Piece of food.
True.
Yeah, well, I'm all for the idea that, you know, people need to make their money. I do not want to be one of these internets, you know, people who goes around and tries to get everything for free and, you know, basically ruins all of you guys who are giving free amazing content. I perfectly admit that you guys need money, and I'm a major fan of the idea that I'll pay subscription fees to a lot of services I like. I've got about 10 or 12 of these relatively cheap, you know, couple maybe $10, $20 a year, and I get to watch all the content on the side. And that's my problem, is I don't want a system which kind of forces ads upon me. I want the option. I'll pay for it. I mean, I don't mind that. To give myself the most immersive and, you know, jank-free experience I can get. I just think that should be an option, and Facebook's model has never been that. They've always made money off of the advertising and the targeting, and I think that's my problem, is that I don't think it's in their headspace to give us that experience. I think they're going to stay with what they know, because quite frankly, that's what you're going to do. And the example I gave a while back is if a butcher buys a zoo, you can't expect him to not try to use his skills to apply it to his new business.
True. And you never know what's going to happen in the future. Like, same thing goes with Google that has a ton of data. You don't know what they get sold 5 years from now. Then they could do terrible things, right? Whereas right now they're being ran, I guess, in a way that maybe that wouldn't be the case. And I think we just all, developers have a lot of, you know, kind of bad taste for Facebook, or we don't use it much, or whatever it may be. Any other thoughts on this topic?
In the end, you know, like the hardware is separate from the software. So, like, if you don't want to use the Facebook app, don't use the Facebook app. And there's going to be people like you and I making things that people can enjoy on the hardware, right? And if you're not down with the Facebook experience, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, that's, you know, I think at first was like a reaction like, Facebook, and then that, you know, being explained, being shared, Palmer posting about, hey, probably should have told you this, but so that makes a lot more sense to me, that it's more like an Instagram. Instagram is pretty much the same, you know, thing as it was. So, I totally get that. But it is a future thing. Facebook could decide to take both of those and do whatever they want. Could they not?
Well, let me speak for Nate on this. So this is a comment he made, and I totally agree with him. I thought it was
Nate is part of Team Metatron and our buddy, just in case for the viewers at home that don't know. He was on last week's show, sorry.
That's great.
Hey, wait, go now.
He said that you're killing me, guys. You're killing me. I think I actually forgot what I was going to say. Move on. I'm going to have to come back to this.
I'm really sorry. I did not mean to derail your train of thought. I was trying to have some fun there. What did Nate say?
No, I'm back on. I'm back on. Yeah. So what Nate's
said here was, in the audience, I think, too.
He said that Facebook may. The thing is, they don't need to force us to use it. They don't need to have their, login system where you manually have to do it, and they don't have to force you on it. But the problem is, you're going to get the Facebook effect, whereby everybody's on it because it's Facebook or because it's the popular one at the moment. So if some indie hub appears and they're putting content or whatever else, why would a developer put it onto that hub with a small, user base when he could put it onto the main hub with all the advertising and all the promotions? It's not that they're going to force us to use their stuff, but if they make their own metaverse, who's going to use, the other metaverse when you've got everyone is in this one, all the content is going to that one? That's the real danger.
That's what happened to MySpace. It's exactly what happens to MySpace. Everybody goes where everybody is, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If Facebook puts out a product that is superior, that everybody ends up using, I'm going to go use it. I'm not going to, fight the establishment and, I'm going to go where everybody is, or it's pointless to be in this weird indie freebie, type of thing all by myself. What am I going to be doing?
Yeah.
But how do you know it's superior? That's the thing. Sorry, go ahead.
It doesn't have to be superior. It's the TiVo effect. Remember, everybody had TiVos, and suddenly DVRs took over for what TiVo was. Was TiVo superior? I don't know. But maybe DVRs that we have now are inferior to what TiVo was offering. We don't care. We don't know. VHS beat out Beta. Beta was actually a better type of hardware with a lot more reliable tape and archival purposes. But VHS was cheaper. It wasn't better. It was cheaper. And as a result, everybody went for it. The best one doesn't always win out. I mean, history has shown us that for years now.
But VR's no compromises. You can't. That's the thing. I don't want to live in a world where we go for the cheaper, sure, it kind of works version of the metaverse. I think if anyone's going to do it, they have to do it right.
Unfortunately, you do live in that world. You don't want to, and I don't either. But unfortunately, we do live in that world where whatever the majority says is what ends up going.
I think Facebook has this as a service. It has an extreme problem of relevancy. Like that is at its core. That is the problem of Facebook. Is it needs to remain relevant. I think that's why they bought Facebook. They bought Oculus rather, just because this is a new medium in which they can, if they get in early enough, which they have, they can increase their relevancy. So I think they will have a lot of people working on this. I don't think the quality of the product is too much of an issue, because they're a big company and they will have quite a few people working on this compared to the indies or whatever that may try to break into the space. They will have the know-how and the technical knowledge to break into it.
Some great comments. All right, any other comments on that? Else I'm going to kind of ask the audience for some questions. All right, so this is time for audience questions. I'll take a few. I've been running over on time. I'm sure Kane, my producer, is going nuts right now, but let's go ahead and there's some microphones that you will see at the ends of the stages there. If you have a question, please line up behind that microphone and we'll take your questions alternately, one at a time. And I hope somebody has a question. I will make somebody ask a question.
Hey, folks.
Please state your name.
Say it ain't Jonas. Or say it ain't Judy, I guess.
Perfect.
So yeah,
what's your question, say it ain't Judy?
Let's see here. So I'm like you, Gunter. I'm also a web designer, UI designer, and in our industry we've got standards, and you code to standards, and you've got a better chance of reaching a wider audience. When we were talking about peripherals like the Omni, I was thinking, as long as the hardware makers stick to standards, it'll work. And right now, if the Omni's working with just your, kind of forward, backward, left, right, I don't know the technical terms, but it works. But is there a body in game development that actively does standards and kind of, like a governing body for
Oculus.
standards in game development?
Like something, I'm not really sure. Any of our guests know anything about a group like that?
I think we're still in the Wild West on that. I don't think that there's anything set in stone yet. So Jonas, I'm sorry, Judy, maybe you need to write that document and put it out there.
I hate docket policies and procedures, but
you can just assign that to Nate. It's okay.
Yeah, not just in VR. I mean, just as is in the current game industry. Do multiple game companies follow any kind of set standards?
I mean, you have DirectX and AMD's Mantle and things. You do have these kind of standards, I guess.
Well, I'm sure, like, Unreal Engine has its ways to do things. The blueprinting system works a certain way and standards there. But, I mean, now we're talking standards all over the place. The actual, like, engine, we have hardware now. We're talking, of course, the engine is not VR specific. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done in this space. And, yeah, good point.
I'd kind of say Reddit is a giant VR requirements document for games because, quite frankly, if something bad happens, if there's a game which just sort of, man, that hurts my eyes, or the scale is off, or I feel really wonky walking this way into a wall looking this way, people will say it, people will comment, people will upvote it. So you can kind of see the scale. People have already come to the conclusion you need a body, you need an optional head bob, these kind of things, from people playing them, from playing it themselves, and from people like Bruce, going through the demos and seeing it break and letting us sort of see it from his perspective.
That brings me to a question myself for Anticleric, and that is, I'm sure you're planning on adding a body, but I noticed there was no body or shadow. That's coming, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, I was just talking to Mike before the show, actually, from Riftmax here, seeing if I could steal his. I'd do my own model, obviously, but yeah, that's the very next thing I'm working on for sure.
Sure. Any hints on what this character will look like, or is that still a secret?
Oh, I definitely want to have the option for at least male and female, if not a third gender.
He's also asked me to be a model, but
for the third gender.
Well, right. You win. All right, I'm out.
Jonas will be a guest on
Oh god,
show.
that's fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
You're going to be a model, because you're adorable.
Well, yeah, the thing is I think if you did do a model of me, I think it might take up a little too much memory. So, sorry, maybe we'll have to try something else.
So, and would the female have 3 boobs? Or can we do that?
Ooh, maybe that's the third gender. 3 boobs and a penis.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense.
We're talking.
That sounds like something you could sell on Second Life, yeah. And a tail. Yeah, and a tail.
For the record, I don't sell any sex things on Second Life. You can check out my store.
That's why it took so long, and he's only getting a few quid.
Right.
So you're not the guy who's running that store called Blair's Dongs, then? Okay.
No, that's not me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to write teledildonics into the standard spec for virtual reality.
All right, so we have another question on my left. What's your name?
Deep Rifter.
Hey, Deep Rifter. What's your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on multiplayer in virtual reality. I've been doing computer gaming since, 1982, Infocom Text Adventures, right? And all of this time, I've just never really gotten into the whole multiplayer thing. It always seemed like such an investment of my time, etc. Just didn't do it for me. But in VR, this is a whole different ball game. I mean, karaoke, multiplayer, and you don't have to invest time. I mean, you could go on a high-speed car chase. I don't know if all of you saw the Grand Theft Auto video that was out recently on Reddit, where the multiplayer, where the guy is riding as a sidekick in the car, his buddy's driving. I mean, that is amazing stuff. And just the presence of being there, the rush of that, I think it's an amazing new experience. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's much more compelling to, I think, everybody than a computer screen video game would be. I think VR, everybody that I share with that's not a nerd like myself, they go, wow, that's amazing, and it blows their mind, and maybe makes some of them sick, depending on what they're playing. So I think this new medium is going to certainly take off, and I don't think of these things as games. I think of them as experiences, and what are these things going to be called in the future? And what does VR even mean to some people? So what is that? What are we calling all these things? Is pretty interesting, just like the standards. Like, we need names and standards for all this stuff. But definitely being in these VR social is what I call it, or multiplayer. There's not really a lot of multiplayer experiences. If you haven't checked out Minecraft, that's how this all started for me, and a bunch of these people that I talk about and friends and whatnot was over there on the Metacraft server, which is Rift only. And so that's how I was able to meet a lot of really cool gamer types, but they were more my age or older, and we could really have some good conversations, unlike the typical Minecraft crowd would be, of course, could be a bunch of kids and whatnot, or something like that. That's probably, stereotyping or whatnot, but for me, I found the server to be just awesome, and it's when they enabled positional audio through the Mumble system. That was awesome. I think that's the cue that need to wrap it up.
No,
Thank you for your question. Oh, is it just... I was going to totally run with that. Do you guys want to comment about that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm very optimistic about the multiplayer experiences that are going to come out. I have a feeling that we're going to see some sporting event type of stuff. I think we're going to see some, maybe some soccer. I'm sorry, football. We're going to see some, maybe some tennis. And I know we've got chess type of stuff. Multiplayer is definitely going to happen. It's going to be a big thing. It's just a matter of time. We just need to give the developers enough time to get this stuff set up.
These engines get the networking worked out, yeah.
Yeah, I had a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so Anticleric, Technolust is a really awesome game, and I see you're getting close to your goal, but you also have a lot of stretch goals. Are there anything that you've already discovered you want to add to the game that you didn't originally have in your plans based on how your Kickstarter's doing and how it made you? If you reach your further goals.
And by the way, that's Mike Arms, the developer of Riftmax, asking that question. Anticleric?
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, definitely. I'm actually planning on changing some of the stretch goals around before we hit our goal, which it might be too late. I haven't checked on it in a while. But binaural audio, I'm going to remove as a stretch goal because if that's a possibility, it's going in regardless. So it doesn't need to be a stretch goal.
Yeah, I was like, awesome, and then sad, and then I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing really available right now. There's people working on things and yada yada, but that will definitely be in if it's a possibility. I'm working on some photo scanning stuff, which might cost money in the end, but yeah, I'm really limited, and I'd love to say that I'm going to hit some of those stretch goals, but at the most, maybe we'll double our goal. So there's only so much one guy can do in 6 months.
Yep. Everything takes longer than you think.
Yeah, definitely.
Software's hard. Yep. All right, thanks, Mike. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our in-studio audience questions. I don't know if we have any hitbox questions. Kane, do you have a poll result for us?
Actually, Kane's not here right now, but
That's a no.
I could take a look.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I wanted to plug VR Room on Janus. Somebody reached out and just asked me to do that. I haven't been able to take the time for that, but that's a little plug.
Yeah, I was going to try and fit a plug-in for Janus too. I actually met the developer at a meetup here in Toronto. He's a local guy, great guy.
Nice.
Hi, James.
I love Canadians.
Yeah, Canadians rule.
Yep. Always nice people. I took a trip to Vancouver just by myself for 10 days, and it was really awesome. And had no direction. I was just wanted to go to Canada. Oh, no problem. So, did you find out anything about the hitbox?
Sorry, what am I looking for?
I guess the poll result. That's okay. How about after we go around the table and I want everybody to plug something of their own, and so it's plug time, and then we'll see if the hitbox thing's up and working. Anticleric, of course, we know what you do, but if you want to drive anybody specifically to a place, please do that now.
No, that's it.
It's just Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Just go.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Tell your grandmother about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, well, you know what? I think it's weird. We need people that are maybe don't have the Rift and that's why I made the rewards like get in the game. Because this is going to be one of the first fleshed out VR game. So like, this is your chance. Get in. You can be in the game.
Exactly. Apieceoffruit, you got anything to plug?
I don't have anything personally to plug, but I feel I have to do a public service and plug Sightline because it's a travesty that game isn't getting the funding that it should do. Amazing looking game. I'm super psyched. It's right up there with Technolust in my list of experiences I want to try out. Very clever. It's got an Indiegogo campaign, and I think people should check it out.
Awesome, thanks. And Mitch, how about you? Of course, we've talked about Team Metatron, so it's metatronvr.com and vrchess.net, but I also know that you got some great artwork on your personal website, which is what?
Yeah, mitchellmccaffrey.com. You can just go to Team Metatron in the team section, like teammetatron.com.
Yep.
No, what is it? metatronvr.com. That's it.
Got it. Yep.
And then under the team section, you'll find all our team members. I want to say, if anyone watching or whatever, if you want to join Team Metatron, just simply fill out. We got a form on the website. If you want to, even if you're not like a full developer, you're still learning. Just join, see, fill out the form. We'll get the email, and then we can get in contact with you. As always, the more people, the merrier, really.
Yeah, we're very open, and we're a lot of people learning together, and like, you know, there's a lot of friends around here that help us out. Worm Slayer, and you saw Jonas. I mean, there's a lot of people that just help our team out. We have official members. We have, you know, just our friends that help us, and we're always looking for enthusiastic people that, you know, if you can code, that's great. Or you're an artist, that's great. Or you just want to learn, you know, UE4 right now while it's hot. You know, go to metatronvr.com and contact us. And last but not least, Rev Kyle, how about you?
Who, me? What do I have to plug? Oh, well, I guess there's that podcast thing that I do. Yeah, so I know. And there's so many of them out there, and I don't know. No, I do want to let you guys know, actually just recorded an episode this afternoon with Kevin Williams, who, for those of you who don't know who he is, he's a big player in the digital out-of-home entertainment sector. So he's been he's the Brit that you see in all the documentaries. You know, he seems to be the I called him a Gandalf type wizard. You know, he's the one that's been there from you know, a long time ago to now. Yeah, and he brings a lot of really good perspective. So you know, you can check that out. That'll probably be posted on Saturday. And then who knows what other, some of you might even be guests in the future. Who knows?
Excellent.
But,
All right, well,
SVVR Con next month. Who's going?
That's another good one. Not me. Olivier is. He is or was in the audience.
Yes. Yeah.
There you are.
I've decided I'm going. It's been decided.
He's coming from France.
Oh, wow.
He's coming farther.
That's even further than Canada.
Yes.
I thought Canada was in France.
All right, so I want to plug, and in which my plug is interested in being a guest or in the studio audience. You know, reach out to me on Reddit at Gunter444. Also Twitter, same thing, Gunter444, and so we can make it happen, and you can be here with us or be on the show. If you have you know, an opinion about VR things, and that's pretty much it. I'm calling it. Time's up. I'll see you guys next time on Virtually Incorrect with Gunter. It was a pleasure being your host. Thank you to all my guests and audience members as well. Thank you to the Riftmax team, Roger Essig. Thank you to all the authors and commenters on the story. And finally, thank you to the whole damn VR community. You guys rock. And that's it. Good night. I love you all.
Yeah.
I can stretch my leg.
And we got those poll results.
Oh, go ahead. Get in there.
We had a 71% yes.
71% are developers or learning, 30% not.
That's right.
Thank you.